Showers around the region right now. I'll have a look at radar coming up a little bit later.
Well, some Jackson residents tonight shaken up after someone shot at their home. Good evening. I'm Scott Simmons. As 16 WAPT's Candace Red reports, those people say this is not the first time something like this has happened. She joins us live from Ferguson Drive with more. Candace.
That's right, Scott. Now, police are investigating after someone shot into a house. It all happened Sunday afternoon around 2:20. And this is right on Ferguson Drive where I'm standing in Jackson. Now, police said that someone shot into a house and then simply sped off. We did talk to the family that lives inside that house. They said they heard about 2 or 3 gunshots. When you heard those shots, what did you do?
I had to take cover. And then I got up and noticed the car was speeding down. I got up to see who it was. I know who it was.
My house been shot in twice. And I'm just getting sick and tired of it. It's just not safe around here.
Now, the good news is no one is hurt, and police, they did say that they are still trying to figure out who is responsible. If you have any information, call the Jackson Police Department. For now, live in Jackson, Candace Red, 16 WAPT News.
Thanks a lot, Candace. Now to another breaking news of the night. Some news in the SEC, and you might be feeling a little deja vu on this one.
That's right, Scott. LSU's head coach Les Miles and offensive coordinator Cam Cameron are reported to have been fired from the program. This decision coming after the Tigers, ranked 5th in the preseason top 25 poll, fell to 2-2 with an 18-13 loss to Auburn on Saturday. It's the worst start to a season since Les Miles took over in 2005. And that deja vu we were referring to, well, if you remember, this same thing happened last year when Miles was fired in November of 2015 following a 3-game losing streak, the program's first since 1999. Defensive line coach Ed Orgeron has been named the interim head coach.
Going to hear more about this in sports, I'm sure. Now, new tonight, Belhaven confirming that an employee with a pending sexual harassment lawsuit no longer works for the university. Erica Stewart is suing Belhaven University and an administrator after she claims he sent a graphic text message. She claims the director of online admissions denied her a job after she rejected his sexual advances. Tonight, the university says he no longer works at the university. Stewart claims that Terrell Durham sent her messages on social media, then text messaged her a picture of his penis.
We believe it's unacceptable for an individual to require sexual favors to employ someone. I mean, of course, yes, she's an attractive young woman, but you cannot just willy-nilly go out enticing young women for sexual favors for a job.
Well, the EEOC Commission looked into the case, but dismissed it in June. Belhaven says it takes all sexual allegations of harassment seriously and thoroughly investigates them. A 3-car wreck killed 1 person in Claiborne County this morning. It happened just before 2 in the morning. MHP says a Buick SUV was headed north on Highway 547 when it swerved into the southbound lane and sideswiped another car and then crashed head-on into a Honda Accord in the southbound lanes. The crash killed the driver of the Honda. Officers identified him as 30-year-old Derek Williams. Emergency crews rushed 3 people to the hospital. One of them had to be airlifted. Troopers say alcohol may have played a factor in the crash, and charges are pending. A suspect behind bars tonight after police say he opened fire in a crowded nail salon in Jackson. Police say Curtis Blandon turned himself in Saturday afternoon. They believe he's the man seen in this surveillance video right here. You see him walking in and opening fire in that crowded nail salon. This was at Magic Nail Salon on Westland Plaza right off of Ellis Avenue. After the shooting, police say Blandon drove away in a brown or gold Chevy Malibu.
A black male identified as Curtis Blandon allegedly was chasing the male subject through the nail shop, firing shots at him. At that time, the male subject was injured, and the 2 female customers were shot as well.
Next, rush those victims to the hospital. They are expected to be okay. Blandon facing 3 counts of aggravated assault. Presidential candidates Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump taking the day off from campaigning to prep for tomorrow's big debate. It will be the first face-to-face matchup between the two. As 16 WAPT's Sally Kidd reports, the stakes are pretty high.
While Hillary Clinton's running mate is out on the trail,
Monday night, big debate. Big debate.
The candidate herself is said to be deep in debate prep.
They say she's been practicing for the debate. Some people think she's sleeping.
It's not clear who she's having play Donald Trump, if anyone.
It's not clear if she's really doing mock debates so much yet, as much as she is trying to prepare for all the different things Donald Trump can throw at her because he's so unpredictable.
In the week leading up to the debate, Trump has had a flurry of campaign events.
He's basically acting like he's not all that worried about it. And that could be true. That could be, you know, an elaborate smokescreen to sort of lower expectations. We don't know.
Analysts say each candidate should have an overarching goal in mind.
For Trump, it's about being credible as president. For Hillary Clinton, it's about being relatable. Both these folks have some work to do with their bases and, most importantly, with folks in the middle.
And while many voters say they've already made up their minds,
I think there is still a lot of interest, even if it's sort of interest in terms of watching a car crash.
You'll be able to catch the debate right here on 16 WAPT. It starts tomorrow at 8. Hey, speaking of the election, absentee voting in the state starts tomorrow. The Hinds County Election Commissioner spent the last few days proofreading ballots before voters start weighing in on this heated presidential race.
It is a very unusual election with the candidates, and that may be one of the reasons why people are so anxious to get out there and make sure their vote is going to be cast.
Any eligible voter can vote absentee. You do have to show an ID to cast an early ballot. Jackson police still trying to figure out who shot a 67-year-old man in the head and then left him in his car. Investigators found Charles Duke's body in a car on a walking trail right behind a credit union Friday. A security guard at the Federal Credit Union nearby says he heard a shot around 7 in the morning. Then he saw 2 people running from the scene. If you have any information, please call Crime Stoppers. The Jackson City Council is still searching for ways to reverse some budget cuts that would have closed a golf course and funding for the arts. It was a finger-pointing match at last week's City Council meeting. Council members and Mayor Tony Yarber blaming the other for cutting the funding to Grove Park Golf Course and $125 grand for the Greater Jackson Arts Council. The budget cuts have already been approved, but the mayor says the city can simply rescind those cuts. Council members say the administration just needs to collect a portion of the sum $39 million still owed to the city in unpaid fines and fees.
Our proposal this year was to push the administration to collect 10% of that. If we collect 10% of what we're owed, there will be no more furloughs, no more tax increases, any of those.
The second option is the restructuring of the city clerk's office that's overseen by the city council, and that restructuring could result in anywhere from $250,000 to $300,000 in savings.
The city still has some time. The new budget doesn't start until the first week of October. Hundreds of people attending a Jackson Food and Music Festival today, and they got a taste of New Orleans at the same time. Wish I was there. Drago's Seafood Restaurant hosting the Abita Jackson Square Music and Food Fest in their parking lot. This is the first time the restaurant has brought this festival from New Orleans to Jackson. Organizers say it was all about bringing a piece of New Orleans to Jackson, from the food to the music.
You got oysters, you got shrimp remoulade, you got roast beef sandwiches, fried catfish, doing it the Acme way, Lucky Dogs, Dr. John, the Funky Meters, the Night Trippers are going to be with Dr. John. You know, he's going to be pounding away on that piano. It's just going to be a ton of fun.
You had me at oysters. The festival does not end until 7 this evening, so there's still time to make it out. The sports community mourning tonight after a Major League Baseball pitcher dies in a boating accident. Details coming up. Plus, police released new footage of the shooting that sparked protests all last week.
And if you have any plans to head to the Caribbean this week, you need to keep a close eye on what's developing out to the Atlantic Ocean, because this will likely become Tropical Storm Matthew in the next couple days.